It's been 9 weeks now that ITV has been on strike, and even some members of the crew here at the BBC seem to be missing it. And I can't think what Reginald Bosanquet's been doing with all that spare time. But certainly the most missed programme, the one we've all missed most, is the serial that has kept many of us at home whenever we could be at home, every Monday and every Wednesday for nearly 20 years. Coronation Street. So to go some small way to repairing this loss, let me introduce the lady described by Jim Callaghan as the sexiest thing on television. Pat Phoenix. Pat, I don't know if you heard me quote Jim Callaghan just now, that you're the sexiest woman on TV.
Yeah.
Now, look, cutting out all this Callaghan romance, I mean, you know, we don't want to hear about it. Who is the sexiest man on TV?
Oh, you mean next to you?
Well, I wasn't...
Oh, Terry Wogan, Barry Manilow, and you again.
Oh, that's... Say those three again, would you?
Yeah. You, Terry Wogan, Barry Manilow, and you again.
Well, I remember, it doesn't seem long ago, and I think you'll agree, the first night of Coronation Street.
Yes, indeed.
I saw it on television, and, you know, I was really thrilled. I thought, I come from the north, as you know.
Never.
Yeah. And I thought, these are real people, the real salt of the earth, the people I know, even if they were wrong side of the border. I mean, being Lancashire, not Yorkshire.
I see, yes, yes.
Yes, but my parents were born in...
It's all right, you don't have to excuse that. It's all right.
Well, they had to be near the mothers at the time, like that, didn't they, anyway? But,
yes.
But what I felt is they're real people, but I felt it won't last. The South won't wear it. Well, how wrong could I be in that?
Yes, indeed, yes.
And so it goes on. How long has it been on now?
Well, it's been on for 18 years now. I escaped for 3 years,
yes.
But it had to go back again. It's like a sort of dear octopus. And you weren't alone when the show started. There were many people, even in the actual building itself in Granada, that said, it'll never run, it's too northern and everything else. But I think for the first time, we showed North Country people that weren't comics with cloth caps and clogs or weren't singers or anything like that. We just showed the sort of raw emotions of the North, the people that we really are, with all the sincerity.
And knew, the people you knew.
Yes, yes, and the people that all North Country people really are, all that sort of laconic phraseology, like, if you do that again, I'll clout you around the ear, which really means, please, you're hurting my feelings, but we don't say it that way, you see.
I know the phrase.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the 3 years you were away playing truant, what were you doing during that period?
Well, I'm really basically a bit of a gypsy, and I went off on tour. I went a bit around the world. I went to New Zealand and various other places, and I was playing straight plays. You see, I was doing all that straight acting stuff, you see, without the acting, the North Country accent, and I had a very nice time. But there's something about the street that's terribly nostalgic, and we always say that nobody ever leaves it for good, and somehow it's true. They will come wandering back again sooner or later, whatever they're doing.
How many have come back who've left you?
Oh, dozens.
Yeah.
I can't... The cast list is enormous, as you know, over the years. I mean, tremendous cast list, various people, named and unnamed. And we're waiting for you to come and ask for a part, you know. We'd be delighted to have you. I mean, we think you're the only person that could keep Annie Walker in order.
I might be coming back and back on the same thing. But they are real people you're talking about, aren't they?
Yes,
I mean, what in Lancashire you'd call Janek. I mean, real...
Oh, straight up, yes, absolutely, Janek. Yes, they are. We are, after all these years, we are still as careful about our characterizations as we were 18 years ago, and it's got to be true. And if any of us do something a little bit off or it doesn't ring true, we discuss it among ourselves and really work at it. We work very hard to make every character as real as we can make them. For instance, I would love to wear a mink coat on television, but Elsie Tanner couldn't afford it or afford some extra trimming, so we're not allowed to do things that go over the top like that.
I think one or two have, though, but with rather dubious means of earning it.
Means of it, yes. Not the straightforward way.
Not for you, no. But, well, we all miss the Coronation Street family.
No more than us.
And indeed, I was saying before you came in that, I mean, members of the BBC crew here miss it as much as anybody else.
Yes.
I suppose now, with all the time it's been going on, I mean, kids who watched it originally are now parents, could even be grandparents, I suppose, couldn't they?
I'll tell you a lovely story about that. I was coming out of a shop or some function or something, and a very, very dishy young man dashed up to me and threw his arms around me and said, "I've been in love with you all my life and ruined it ever since I was 2," he said. Ruined it.
Tell me, living with Elsie Tanner, which you do,
Yes.
is it a burden? I mean, do you sort of...
It's complete...
Can you escape from it?
No way. It's complete schizophrenia. It's like, you see, I was just an ordinary woman. I didn't aspire to very much. I was an actress, and all I wanted to do was bring Shakespeare to the millions and marry a millionaire and have a castle. And nothing very, I just wanted a few simple things in life. And I walked into an audition in Coronation Street, and what they didn't tell us was about these alien characters that were going to take us over. I mean, my name was Pat Phoenix, and I sat down and they said, "Will you read that?" And I read it, and this sort of North Country virago with 2 grown kids and a terrible temper and rather a penchant for the gentleman, you see. And she took over. I mean, it's an alien being. It is with all of us. I mean, we don't live here anymore. It's just bodies with these creatures called Hilda Ogden, Annie Walker, and Elsie Tanner walking about inside us.
And do you find that people sort of believe that it is real life, that you really are Elsie Tanner, the people you meet, or do they recognise that you're...
Well, if there's a wedding, we get congratulation cards and all the rest of it. If there's a funeral, there's wreaths and everything else. But I think, in actual fact, that people, it's 50-50. They want to believe. They want to believe in that community spirit. They want to believe that we are all as nice as with each other off as we are on. They want to believe that we live as tightly as we appear to do on the screen, because it's an old-fashioned standard. Many communities have gone, and we're that back street that lots of people knew, and wherever it be, in the East End or Hong Kong or wherever it is, that's what Coronation Street stands for. People being together, bit nosy, interfering in each other's affairs, having the odd row every now and again, but a community, nevertheless. And I think people want to believe in that, and that's why the characters have become so beloved to the public, I think.
And when they die, even in real life, I mean, when people die...
Oh, give us a chance, love. I mean...
There have been 1 or 2, haven't there?
Yes, there have.
That's what I mean, and it's been like personal sadness.
Well, it is a personal sadness.
You referred to, didn't you? You referred to Shakespeare just now. Now, you better watch it carefully, because I'm president of the Royal Shakespeare Theatre Company with no qualifications.
Have you got a job going free? I mean, I'm out of work at the moment.
What I was interested to ask is what parts in Shakespeare would you really like to play?
Well, no, and having reached these years of mine, the sere and yellow as it might be, there's only one, isn't it? It's really Lady M, I should think, or Juliet's nurse. But
What about Juliet?
No, well, if you're going to play Romeo, okay, you're on. Yes, we'll do it. No, I think in my youth I did play Shakespeare, Desdemona and things like that, but I'm a bit past it now, I think.
Now, tell me...
Say no. Tell me. Go on, tell me. What do I got to tell you?
Well, I was going to ask. I mean, I didn't...
You didn't get a chance, did you?
The audience said no.
Yeah.
But do you miss the rest of the cast during this period when you're not on the air?
Yes, we do. We do. We're very matey, in actual fact, and we all know each other's business, and we talk to each other over the phone because we live some distance away from each other, and we're all well aware of what's going on at the studios, or trying to find out what's going on in the studios, and we discuss all our private affairs, how we're managing, and please can we go back to work soon because we've got no money, sir, please, you see, it's that's what's going on.
Well, we all hope you're going to be back, obviously,
yes,
don't we?
Thank you.
Now, look, it has been established that you are a genuine Lancashire person.
That's so.
No one more genuine. And you were born in Lancashire.
Yes.
But you get on all right with the Yorkshire people, do you? I mean, there used to be Awards of the Roses, but we've got over that now
it's the
pretty
same
well, haven't we?
thing now,
Yeah.
isn't it? I mean, sort
Well,
of
not-
anywhere past Yorkshire and Lancashire, well, they're foreigners, aren't they? I mean, we're the same, one and the same, Yorkshire and Lancashire.
Pretty well, except it's sort of when Yorkshire play Lancashire cricket.
Oh, don't
or
start
cup
now.
final.
You see, you're starting
well, we're
it all
just going to start it, you see, because I've got news for you, but you'll have to get used to this, because we now have a Yorkshireman coming in, and you are outnumbered 2 to 1.
Has it gone out?
Ready? He's a fast bowler, now remember that.
I know.
Yeah. Better paddle.
We've known each other for a long time, you know.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
Freddie, it's nice to welcome you. Nice to welcome you. We met once, I think, when we were both joint pipemen of the year.
Yes, that's right, yeah.
And we got 2 free pipes each on that occasion.
No, you got 2, I didn't get any.
There was another year when I was piping the decade and you got 2. And I only got 2. It was Manny Shinwell that got 10. That's right.
Where's money that got it?
Yeah. Well, on that day, I introduced you in my speech as the greatest living Yorkshireman, which I believed then and believe now. And I got a stinking telegram from J.B. Priestley shortly after. And then he followed up with a letter showing pictures of some very distinguished Yorkshiremen, Nobel Prize winners and others. But I still stick to what I said. Anyway, you're among friends here now. Could you turn that no smoking sign out? Light up, Freddie. Now, look, one question
I just
I've
filmed mine before you came in.
What?
I slipped up, I just filmed mine before I came in.
So did I. Look, a question I've always thought, and I don't know whether you'll think it means anything. Do you hate, in your great prime as a bowler, did you hate batsmen, or did you just want to get rid of them?
Well, I probably didn't hate them in the sense of the word. I hated them being there. I wanted to get them out, yes, because I always think that the best way to play cricket is sat with your feet up, smoking your pipe, watching your lads bat. I've always believed that. And also, I had a principle which I worked on, and that was try to defeat the opposition as heavily as possible, as quickly as possible, so you finish it with a psychological advantage in the next meeting. It didn't suit everybody.
But on those occasions when they've got a lucky snake and it sort of went through the slips and there was no one near enough to catch it. Now, I'm not going to ask you what you said because there are children watching too. But, you know, how did you feel about that? I mean, did you really feel lucky so-and-so, or...?
Oh, there are certain things I've said to batsmen.
Yourself, yes.
I think Peter Parfitt, who's a great pal of mine, and of course he's been converted, he's come to live in Yorkshire as well now, you know, Peter. He has a free house pub up there, and I think it was Peter, when he'd played and missed, nicked me a couple of times, and I said to him, you've got more edge on your bat than a threepenny bit, you see, and he said, well, I've paid for it, so I'm entitled to use the lot.
Well, now, there's a story about you when you're just sort of coming up to fame at the age of 19, and you were supposed to have been in so I'm told, an early season practice game against a team of amateurs. And the first 4 or 5 were sort of disappeared quickly. The wickets smashed up, or perhaps they strode rather carelessly into one of your deliveries. And as the next batsman came out of the pavilion, he turned out to be a very distinguished figure in local society. I'm told that Norman Yardley said, now don't be too hard on him, Fred. This is Brigadier, whoever it was, who does a lot for the club. And I'm told that you were very generous to him. Your response was to give him 1 easy ball to get him off the mark. But you indicated that the second ball was going to pin him to the, can't quite read it, something or other sight screen. Remember that occasion?
I remember once, I don't remember that one, but something like it. I was in the senior service, of course, the Royal Air Force, and Tony Benn will agree with me, make no mistake about that. I'd played in a test match at Lords, I think it was, and of course, being AC2, a big rank, you see, a private plane was laid on for me, and they flew me back into Lincolnshire to play for the RAF of Lincolnshire against the Gentlemen of Lincolnshire. And one of the prizes, or one of the bonuses, was if you hit a ball over the pavilion, there was a barrel of beer, you see. And of course, all the lads were getting together and saying, let's have one or two over there and a drink after the match, you see, and saying, yeah. Anyway, I was bowling, and I got a couple of people out, and somebody was coming in and made some remark, and the batsman at the other end said, oh, don't worry about him, he's not that quick. And of course, what was happening, I wasn't bowling fast anyway. I was only bowling about half speed. Yeah. And in those days, I was a little bit hot-headed, I suppose, and I took a little bit of exception to this. So I thought, well, I might teach this young man a lesson, you see. And so I set about him, and I didn't try to bowl him out. I actually tried to hit him under the ribs. And I kept getting a little bit wider, and I hit him under the ribs, and he winced a bit, and then I hit him again, and as I ran up, he was getting wider, and I was following him, you see. And eventually, my group captain came to me, who was the captain, and said, will you do me a favour? I said, what? He said, bowl him out. Because he was just about crying, this kid, you see. And he said, bowl him out. So I said, why? He said, it's his father who's paying for the beer for the ball over the field.
You were talking about bowling at half speed. What was that, about 60 knots?
Oh, somewhere around about 45, 50, yeah.
But I see there's been some argument recently by the cricket statisticians that, well, you in 13 years, you've got 307 test wickets. I hope that's right.
Yeah.
But isn't it a fact that we get test matches nearly every week just now?
They seem as though they play them every Saturday, that's right. You see, in India this winter, India are going to play 13 test matches, 6 against Australia, 6 against Pakistan, and then they play England in February when England are on the way back from Australia in the Jubilee test match. So they're playing 13 test matches in one winter, which is something like, in one winter they're playing exactly, what, just about 1/6 of my whole career.
Of all the test matches you played, in how many years?
In 13 years.
In 13 years?
Oh, yes. You see, in the last 2 or 3 seasons, England, they've been to Pakistan, they've been to Australia, they've played a couple of series here, they've played a 4-match series, they're going out to Australia again now. Yes, test matches are far more frequent now than they used to be, but of course it all gets down to money, doesn't it? And in India, of course, they get terrific crowds in India. It really is fantastic to see it.
Now, as you're also a batsman, you could stay there when you had to, though you probably wanted to get on with the game and do some bowling. And you've had how many centuries?
Well, a lot of people take the mickey out of my batting, you know. Probably right, because I didn't take it too seriously. I refused to bowl 1,000 overs a year and bat as well and feel close to the wicket like I used to do. But I managed 3 centuries, yes, 1 against Northants, 1 against Middlesex and 1 for England.
Pat, are you a cricket fan?
Sort of, you know.
Nice way of spending a summer afternoon.
Yes, I don't really know much about it, you know. I get,
not the real rough side.
Get the overs mixed up with the what's-its, but, you know, I think he's...
What about when they talk about that he's bowled a maiden over? What do you think about that when they say that about him?
Well, I just envy her, that's all.
I thought you'd have a good answer to
I've got to put that right, Al, you know, about I scored a century for England because, you know, people will be writing in and saying, that's not true. It's not true. And, of course, it is perfectly true, actually. What happened was that I made a century for England against Young England at Scarborough.
Oh, I see.
That's where it happened. But you'll win a few quid on it if you have a bet. And
thank you.
That's what happened. And, of course, the stage was set for me. I had Trevor Bailey batting at the other end. I think Trevor made 12 while I made 100.
Yeah, well, it was a very famous match when he saved, didn't he, right through for 2 days.
Oh, what a great cricketer, yes, he was.
But tell me, how do you get on with David Shepherd? I mean, he's now a bishop. I mean, in Liverpool.
Oh, David Shepherd?
Yeah.
Oh, I think he's a great
You had no problems with him? I mean, like, what you thought about batsmen and expressed it?
I think he's a great fellow, David. You know, a lot of people don't realise that David Shepherd, you know, when he came down from university and played with Sussex and he was playing with England, I think I might be right in saying that he actually took over the captaincy from Len Hutton, you know.
Yeah.
He took over the captaincy, did David, for a couple of matches. And then, of course, he went back to university and he went into the church, and I admire him for it because he was a very, very good player. I tell you what, I bet England wish they had a few players, opening batsmen like him about today, because, you know, make no mistake about it, this man, David Shepherd, was a very, very fine opening batsman. For me, he was, anyway.
It absolutely captivated young people on Merseyside.
Oh, yes.
Working with the other denominations too, especially to deal with problems of racialism and urban poverty and kids, you know, not having a fair chance.
And the Mayflower Centre down in London here. Right. Yeah, an absolutely marvellous man, David Shepherd, as far as I'm concerned. I'll tell you a quick story about David, you know. It's not true, of course, like most cricket stories are not, because they're all exaggerated. And as the years go by, they become exaggerated. But there is a story, you know, where they reckon that when the Test match wicket at Headingley was dug up in 1977, you know, was it 75, rather? Well, the people that did it, of course, they were supposedly in Armoury Jail. And they sent for me because I was the only person they'd speak to. And so I went to see them. And I got to cell 23, knocked on the door and said, it's Freddie Trueman. And they said, hang on a minute, crashing and banging, and the door opened, you see. And in I went, and I said, now then, they said, well, things aren't too bad, have a cup of coffee or a cup of tea, what do you want? You know, things aren't too bad. And we got talking, I said, now then, what's all this that you wish me to help you? And they said, oh, yes, we're in a bit of trouble. Well, I said, well, I know that. You know, you've dug the Test wicket up and spoilt the pleasure of 40 million people around the world. And they said, we're not worried about that. We've got publicity for our cause. And I said, everybody needs publicity for their cause. Yes, certainly. And I said, well, how can I help you? They said, we're very worried about the sentence. I said, well, you haven't been tried yet, so you don't know what the sentence is. They said, no, but we've heard a rumour. I said, what's that? They said, we're going to have to jump off the stand at Headingley and David Shepherd's going to try to catch us.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.